Hi guys, it's Cara once again welcoming you into my channel. Now it's a lovely sunshine. I can't believe it. It's a beautiful day and it's January 23rd of 2020. And I know it's still winter time, but we have in the UK mild weather. Where this video is about my Crassula Ovata, what I have put this plant into for it to produce this flower. This plant has been flowering for me for quite some time, and since if I'm not wrong, November, I think. So yeah, but don't quote me this because I should have put it down in the book. Anyway, what I did, first and foremost, I'll just to show you how big is this plant. This is a very mature plant, about 10 years old, 11 or something, 11 or 12. It's my daughter is 12 years old, and it's quite similar age with my daughter, so maybe 11 years old. This plant, I had this plant when just a leaf. I have planted it just a leaf, and then it grew like this. Imagine that. So how to make this flower? Well, this is the first time that it massively bloomed for me, and the biggest trick of it is it's a temperature. You have to expose this plant in a temperature that goes down to 10, or I think it can still survive, goes down to 8, but I haven't tried that temperature because this plant is together with my orchids in my sunroom, and I cannot risk that. So this room is only down to 10, and so that's a temperature. It has to reach into this certain temperature for it to produce flower, and that is the vital one. And why I said so, because when I have this plant, as I said, for quite some time, and aside from that, the Crassula Ovata has to reach its maturity to flower, and I had it for years, and it's quite totally capable to produce flowers, but it didn't. It's because I keeping this plant inside my house, which I cannot put the temperature down to 10 or lower, because it would be comfortable for us living inside. So I got young children, so yeah, so I can't have that. So then I move it in here last year, which is 2019, and I see how it goes, and it did. And obviously this plant hasn't received any water since October, since the autumn. And yeah, so, and I'd show you this plant as well. This one you probably say it's quite so young, but it's produced flower because this is a cutting from this mother plant. So that plant, it is a mature cutting, and I'll just show you. It's that mature cutting there. So that's how mature is this plant. Let me see, so that you could see, if you could see what I'm trying to say. So yeah, so that's a mature cutting. If you have a very young cutting from this plant, like this, quite young, you know, this young cutting which is sales in the shop, so it will not flower. So you have to be very patient for your Crassula Ovata to flower. It has to reach its maturity like this. If I cut this one and I plant it, it won't flower, so it might take a while, but it does flower for you. So yeah, so it has to reach its maturity and the temperature, which is the vital one, because that's the only one that I did change last year, and that's why I have it produce a massive white dainty flowers for me. And one other thing is to let you know is this flower doesn't emit any scent at all, which I would say be very beneficial, because sometimes succulent plants don't produce these nice beautiful flowers, unlike the orchids and the Hoyas. Yeah, so I think that would be a good side perhaps. So I can't detect any scent, but maybe one of you would. So, but as of me, I tried and I can't. At the minute, I can't even smell it because I'm full of colds. But if you could see, it's starting to dry off, and some of them are still quite white. and some of them brownish. It takes a very long time for this plant to die off with these dainty flowers. So since October, as I said, this plant hasn't received any water at all. So obviously it's a part of it's a succulent plant. So what it does is absorb its water, and then it stores in its individual leaves and as well as over in the trunk. And if your plant is like this and it's quite wrinkly, don't panic and don't straight away water it, especially at this time of the year, because you might kill your plant through overwatering with this. What's this? Because obviously it's you don't like it. So what I would rather suggest, if you find a leaf like this, check the upper leaf, and if you feel like it's still very stiff, so like this, it's quite stiff still, the flowers, the leaves are still stiff, so I will not attempt to flower this. I will not attempt to water this plant. It's quite very stiff. So this plant suck water to hydrate itself from its leaves, and then it will fall off. And then what would happen is it's mostly the bottom of the leaves will sacrifice, like this one. Let's me move, like if you see it, can you see it in my camera? Yeah, this one, this is quite in the bottom, so yeah, it dries off. And then if your Crassula Ovata is, their leaves is starting like that, don't try to pull it out, because let the plant itself suck all its juices for it to drink. Leave it like that and it dries by itself. You see this leaf, it dries up and then it will just fall, and there you go. And then it's very crunchy, and you know what I mean. So let the plant have a drink from its leaves, and after some time, and then you would determine that this plant really needed watering. As I've said, you have to check all the leaves. The leaves is at the top of the plant is very stiff, so I never flower this plant just yet. So I leave it as it is until it needed flowering. Watering. So if it's one of our ways to, you have to be tactile with your plants to check if it's needed something or not. And sometimes, and if you're used to the plants as well, there's some it's like lost its sheen in its watering. It just reduce the lush. The way it looks like it's very shiny and things like that, so it becomes very dry and very dull. So yeah, so that's the word, very dull. So and then that's the time that you would assess your plant, does it needs watering or something like that. So yeah, so aside from let's recap, a plant should Crassula ovata should reach in its maturity and a low temperature, and it doesn't matter if it's in the bright side, because some of the people would say that to keep it in the darker side of the room, but no, it's, as I said, it's in my sunroom, and the glass is all roof. The glass is all the roof is all glass. Jesus. So yeah, so it's all so bright, and so that's the brightest, this is the brightest part of the house, and that's how much light it received. So it's got nothing to do with that one, with the dark or bright. Maybe brighter, maybe the plant rather flourish or produce massive flowers in a bright room, perhaps, because when during that time for so many years with me, it was inside my house, and it's not really bright, and it's not really dark, because it can still expose to a certain degree of brightness, but it didn't do anything. So the best trick really is the temperature, which I think that would triggers it to produce massive flowers. So I hope I made this video very interesting for you, of those people who have a Crassula ovata. they call it money tree, money plant, Chinese plant, Chinese yeah. So this is the entire plant that I have. So that's very huge. I'll just show you this. Oh, that's how I can't even wrap it around my hand, and that's but I can't be the plants anyway. So yeah, so that's my Crassula Ovata in full bloom for quite some time. Right guys, thank you very much for lending me your time in watching my video. I hope I'll see you again for the next time, and have a blessed day. Goodbye.